Once again, a reminder of our top story this hour. The United States is stepping into the war between Israel and Iran. The White House says 3 nuclear sites were hit by air attacks overnight. The strikes have led to calls for peace and warnings about the risks of a wider conflict. Israel says they followed up today with their own strikes across Iran. And many Canadian Iranians are watching the events in Iran very closely, including some who have spent years trying to hold the country's government to account. You'll remember that 176 people died in January of 2020 when Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps shot down a Ukrainian passenger plane over Tehran. On board were 55 Canadian citizens and 30 permanent residents, including Parisa Agbalayan and her daughter Rira. Since that tragedy, Parisa's husband and Rira's father, Hamid Esmailian, has been one of the most prominent voices demanding justice, including working as a spokesperson for the association representing families who lost their loved ones. I'm really honored to say that Hamid Esmailian is in the studio with me now and here to talk about many things taking place in Iran. So good to have you on set. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
There's so much I want to ask you, but I think we need to begin with the news of the moment that we are in and these past 10, 11 days. Starting from Israel's initial bombing to last night, the United States getting involved. How are you processing all of this?
I think every Iranian has a mixed feeling right now. It has been like 10 days, as you say. Like at the get-go, we heard about prominent IRGC commanders that they got killed. We are not upset about that, for sure. But you know that some of those key perpetrators of the downing of Flight PS752 were among those that they've been killed. 5 years and 5 months, we have been fighting for justice, and in the coming week, we are waiting for the Hague to schedule the initial hearing for Flight PS752's case. And it's, I feel painfully absurd, in this situation that when we are going forward to make them accountable in the International Court of Justice, some of the key figures that they committed that crime are gone. But we still want the government to continue that path.
Just for the audience at home, if they haven't been following the story closely, I just want to clarify that certainly the top 3 officials within the military in Iran were killed when the Israelis first struck about 10, 11 days ago. Those men, as you say, are accused to have been linked to the downing of that Ukrainian flight, also linked to have given the commands or promoted the proxies that carried out the Hamas attacks on Israel on October the 7th. These are very high-ranking people. And you and the association here in Canada wanted to hold them to account. And as you say, there are now mixed feelings. You're not sad that these men are gone, but is there a degree of frustration that they cannot be held to account in a court of law?
Yeah, we tried. We tried hard. We tried to push RCMP to open a criminal case here. I even traveled to Ukraine October 2021, and they were eager to continue for prosecution, but when they landed in Canada for investigation, the war broke out in Ukraine. So, and then the association had to take the case to International Criminal Court, but unfortunately our government didn't support that. So we tried hard to take these individuals to an impartial court. And we wanted them to be accountable in an impartial court, to be killed in a battlefield. But I'm sure the world is a better place without them. But we still want to make that government accountable, and we still want to know the truth, what really happened on January 8, 2020, and even other crimes. The crackdown of Women Life Freedom Movement, bloody November 2019, and countless crimes that they have committed in the last 47 years.
I'm glad you brought those things up, Hamid, because I, again, also want to remind the audience that particularly when the Women Life Freedom Movement was at its peak and there was so much momentum within Iran for regime change, externally in the diaspora, there was maybe 4 or 5 Iranians in the world that were seen as real leaders of a movement. And the son of the former Shah is one of them. Nazanin Boniadi, actress and activist. you are also one of those key international figures. Your role has gone beyond being a Canadian fighting for his family's rights and wanting justice from the Iranian government. You've really become a spokesperson for an international movement. And here we are in this moment where Iran is at war with Israel, and whether it was just one day or not, at war with the United States. What is your hope for Iran and the Iranian people, I should say, at this moment?
I think, what is this that is missing right now is people's agency. People's agency is lost. In the state of war, everybody is fearful for their lives, and that's understandable. If we had modern political parties, if we had very strong civil organizations, we could have done much more. But what I hear from inside Iran, now they have deployed checkpoints almost everywhere, in every highway. Now we are fearful for the lives of political prisoners, prisoners of conscience. They have done this before. We have seen the massacres in the prisons in 1988, and everybody is fearful of 1999 Persian Gulf War with Saddam Hussein, that he massacred people after the war stopped. So there are a lot of fears out there. So I understand that the leaders inside the country, they're hesitant to come forward, but I still hope that people's agency finds its way and people can take their destiny in their own hands. Because, people of Iran, they won't accept any foreign government to dictate them what to do. This is people's decision what to do. And I still hope that that day will come, that this regime is overthrown by the hand of Iranian people, by the power of powerless.
If it comes with the assistance of the Israeli military bombing Iran or the U.S. bombing Iran, is that a cost worth paying for regime change?
As I said, there are mixed feelings. Now, when last night that attack happened, in every Iranian mind was this question: why billions of dollars was spent on those nuclear facilities and plants? Only because of Ali Khamenei's ambition, nuclear ambition, and IRGC commanders. That money could have been spent in so many good places, in schools, in education, in health.
And there is an economic crisis in Iran right now.
It is, and for more than 3 decades, our people, they suffered because of the sanctions and economic pressure. They haven't decided to do that. Nobody voted for that. And just Ali Khamenei and IRGC decided to do it. And now here we are. We have come to the dead end. Negotiation didn't move forward because they were deceiving the democratic countries. And I can't blame the democratic countries too on this. I mean, they were, when they were negotiating with the Islamic regime, they never brought it up. The human rights cases, the safety of the political prisoners. They just talked about the nuclear deal, and now I think they're happy that the nuclear facilities are gone, but what about Iranian people? We are talking about the being of Iran right now. And this is very difficult, that the community is polarized completely, some supporting the war, some are against the war, some they say no to the war, no to the Islamic regime, and I think the community is very confused where to stand.
You, as we started this conversation, talked about your personal loss, and talked about your beautiful wife and your beautiful daughter. And for those who have been watching our interviews over these past 5 years, we often see you at home. And for me, I have this burnt into my memory, that beautiful photograph of or the image of your wife and daughter is just over your shoulder as we do these interviews. But now there is also, with such a tremendous loss, you have family still in Iran right now. And they're constantly under threat, but now even more so from foreign adversaries. Tell me about your family there, what they're saying to you.
Yeah, they're the only people that I have, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And they're still in Iran. Like 2 years ago, 2023, they confiscated their passport. My parents couldn't leave the country. And then my mom had to fight for more than a year to take it.
Is that because of your work?
Yes,
So your mother is punished because you're an activist?
Yeah. My mom is 75, my father is 76. And after a year of fighting, so she managed to take the passport back. So she came back. She came here for the 5th anniversary, and about 6 weeks ago, she went back to Iran, and they took her passport again. So even if they want, they can't leave the country. But my family is just one family out of thousands of Iranians, millions of Iranians that are in a state of war. A few nights ago, I don't even remember the last time I talked to them, probably a week ago or 10 days ago. I just texted my mom yesterday to see if they're safe, they're fine. But I mean, as I said, we're talking about millions, not only my family.
I think, as you say, there are millions and millions of people affected by this. But for so many, perhaps here in the West, it feels like that's far away. That's out there. But since you are right here and we are in this space together, for those who still don't understand the challenges, I have a dear friend who's of Iranian descent, and she says to be a Persian is to live in permanent turmoil. Because you're driven out of your country for various reasons, or you've had to seek refuge, and it's dangerous to go back to your homeland, and you love the country, and yet you cannot abide by the country. And explain that constant sense of turmoil, even in this moment, because you have hinted at it. It's mixed emotions. You understand why the West is frustrated, but of course, nobody wants Iran to get bombed. Just walk me through that sense of push and pull in this moment.
Yeah, I think for every Iranian immigrant is a very difficult moment. But the good thing to know is you may change your place, but that history comes with you. Yeah. Even if you go to Europe, to Canada, to Australia, it doesn't matter. You can't forget where you have come from, and that's your country, Iran. I mean, now it's very difficult. My people are very emotional at the same time that they are happy for those commanders to be killed, but they're very upset and they're mourning the lives of innocent people or civilians that they died. And we don't hear from them. We don't hear from those families. The internet was cut out. We don't even know how many people died. And I mean, it's very important to stand with civilians at this time, and try to just echo the voices of Iranians inside the country. As I said, there are different comments coming from inside Iran. Some, they say they welcome that, not welcoming the bombs, but they say, okay, we are tired, we are frustrated of this regime, and if they stay, they're gonna massacre everybody. But some, they say, their national pride is injured, and but if you ask me, our national pride was injured a long time ago when they destroyed the environment, when they massacred prisoners, when they shot people like an airplane in the sky, when opened fire to the civilians in the streets. We have to put an end to this regime, and people have to do that, in my opinion, not the foreign governments.
Are you hopeful?
I am. I hope that in the coming days and weeks, people can find themselves. I hope.
I'm so glad you found your way to our studio today. Hamid Esmailian, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.